to you in this space of coming back, of returning to not just my writing life and my memoir, but really returning to everything creative in my life. And what I typically do, and what has traditionally been done in this Substack space of the House of Wild and Salon Wild, is that I host a monthly Salon Wild on the last Thursday of every month. This last couple of months have been wild and amazing, and I haven't been able to be on that commitment because of life. And so, as I was sitting in this whole idea of returning, it felt really true for me to do a mini version of Salon Wild on the topic that was designated for June, which is fame. And when I was thinking about that, I was like, the perfect like way to introduce this concept is to share with you a little snippet of my work in progress, my memoir, which theme is fame. And as I'm writing it, also longing and a few other things that I'm kind of still sitting with and that are percolating in my heart and in my mind and in my writing practice. And so today I wanted to do just a mini little live with you to be in community with you and to let you know that I'm here, I'm human, I'm returning. And that is part of the creative process is this idea of returning. We are going to have moments where we fall off the face of the earth when it comes to our books, when it comes to our creative projects, when it comes to whatever it is that we're doing. And the muscle that we really need to build and the muscle that I'm currently building is this muscle of returning to the work, returning to the book, returning to the project. And that's what I'm holding. I'm holding a space in July called Returning to help creatives do that. But I've also been really practicing it in my life because it is the one thing that I need, that I know I need in order to fulfill my current wild dream of signing with my dream agent and becoming a literary star. I know that I am meant to be an amazing writer and author and teacher and creative, and I have been. But this feels like the next level for me. This idea of really turning everything that I've done in my body of work and in performance and really like funneling that into my writing career, into my authorship, into that aspect, the kind of quiet but really loud on the page kind of work. And one of the things that I have been feeling and dealing with as I was in this space of really not touching my work, of not really thinking about my book, I almost felt like I was like overwhelmed. I think I wrote a post about it and I said I felt like I was disappearing, which I 1,000% was. But I also was feeling like detached from the work because I wasn't immersing myself with it. I was ignoring the stories. I was ignoring all the things that I know that I needed to really channel and funnel and share this book and write this book and channel this book and all the things. And so one of the things that really, when I stepped away from it, and I've been away from it for like 2 months, is that doubt started to creep in, like big time doubt. And my inner shitter, which is what I call my inner critic, was just constantly berating me and going, see, this is why it's never going to happen. This is, you're not good enough. The work isn't good enough. You're not a good enough writer. Like, why are you even trying to do this? Like, there's no point. And it was just going on and on and on. And so what I did is I returned to my own work, um, and read and took some of my own advice. And so I wanted to share a little bit of that with you. It is a section called Doubt, and it is from my book, The Artivist, a manifesto and reinforcement of surviving, thriving, and revolutionizing through the nexus of human experience and intentional art making. And in this chapter, I'm talking about like the call to, in this particular book, artivism. So using our art as activism, and how as artivists and even as creatives and art makers, there's a point where we feel like this pull, this call, it's the call to create, to perform, to be a drag queen, to be an author, to whatever that yearning, that longing, that thing that is like a hunger that is unsatiable inside of you. That is the call. I call it the call in this book, and I'm talking about that. And I'm giving three things about, like, three almost like steps is how that call comes through. And so I've already talking about the first step, which is the spark. And here I'm talking about the second. It's not really a step. It almost feels like a creative quest that we go through to get to the end result, which is our creative project or a book or whatever it is that we're working on. And so the second kind of creative quest that we go through is called doubt. And so this is what I was feeling and going through when I was like away from my work. And so I wanted to share this section with you. It's called To Doubt. We talk ourselves out of it being our creative work, or writing, in my case, writing my memoir, of art, of action, art plus action, of exploring further what the jolt jiggled loose inside of us. We talk ourselves out of our ideas. It's not good enough. We talk ourselves out of our ability to bring the idea to life. We are not good enough. And instead, we talk ourselves into believing all the things that others, society, our government have said about us, and worse, all the things we have said about ourselves. We begin to compare our faint hint of beginning to the decades in the making body of work of our heroes and our peers. We break down our art before we even get a chance to make it. We talk ourselves out of acting before we have even lifted 1 foot off the ground. And then there's guilt. The guilt of wanting to make art in a culture and society that doesn't value, pay, or revere artists of color, queerness, or otherness as much as our counterparts. The guilt of choosing something we might see as superfluous, as art, as a means to change the world. And the shame of what if? What if we don't make it? Does it prove the above right? And what if we do? Will the money, fame, and respect mean that you're selling out, and therefore make you and your art unrelatable to the people we began creating it for in the beginning? And then there's the reality that art has often been seen as a luxury for our people, especially when we meet and compared to necessities and the realities of our everyday life. That there are systems, ideologies, and histories in place that grossly hinder our ability to even find our career bootstraps, let alone pull ourselves up from them, as if bootstraps ever existed in the first place for us Indigenous folks used to walking barefoot upon the earth. That we cannot afford monetarily, time, energy wise, to live a life of art. And what felt like an expansion of the world at the beginning begins to suffocate us under the weight of all the life that makes up our own. In the face of all that life, it seems impossible to choose art. And yet, so many others of our two-spirited brothers, sisters, and multi-spirits have been, are doing it. How? And then it moves into the next creative quest that we go through. So as I was sitting in this pile of disassociation of not doing the work, the doubt crept in even bigger because the universe despises a gap or a hole. And so in the space of where I would normally be creating and writing and sharing, there was nothing. And so what came through was all of the inner shitter, all the things that I've ever said, all the things that I've ever believed about myself, all the things that anybody else has said about me and my art, that filled that space and that gap. And so doubt really was this huge, huge mountain that I had to climb and kind of trepidatiously like go back up the mountain. And I'm glad I did, because what is life without our art? What is life without our passion or our creativity or our desire, longing, that call to do something? And so, in the spirit of silencing my inner shitter and also returning to the work and returning to sharing and returning to be in community and space with you, which I absolutely love, I'm excited and very nervous because I haven't done this before. This is actually the first time, okay, you beautiful wild ones, Substackers, both on the House of Wild and Salon Wild and also Fame Stack. Y'all are the first that are hearing about this or hearing this passage outside of like my tiny writing groups from my work in progress memoir. It doesn't have a title. It's on Fame. Right now, I'm just in my head calling it the Fame book. So this is what felt like, so let me give you a little kind of insider scoop about this. This portion really felt like it was going to be the opening and the beginning of the book. But the more that I write, the more that I don't know if it is. And that's part of the process, right? We make plans and the universe laughs. And it's like, okay, I'm planning this to be the beginning, but then as you write, it no longer makes sense or feels like it's the thing that wants to open the book. But I know this is going somewhere. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe it was just written to share with all of you. Who knows? I'll return to this when I finish the book and we'll see where it lands. But this little section, I don't really have chapters. Right now, it's like I'm writing a word and then I'm writing underneath it. So there's no chapters. They're just kind of divided by one word titles. So this one is called Stars. Beginning as far back as I can remember, my father would take me into our backyard, a small pair of binoculars in hand, and point out the constellations to me with his fingers. He would trace the sky and connect the stars with invisible lines, and I would just stare in awe of what seemed to be an erratic, jumbled pattern surrounding me. Earth, moon, the night sky, the billions of stars, and my father's ability to know what was up there just by looking at it. There's the Big Dipper. See it? Eyes wide, I stared and nodded in wonderment. He continued. The Big Dipper always flows into the little one. If you follow this star named Dubhe, it will always take you to the tip of the Little Dipper. And there you'll find not only its handle and cup, but Polaris, the great North Star and the brightest star in the sky. I'd watch, completely awestruck, as the shape of a pan emerged and glistened in the chaotic pattern in the sky. I'd follow his right index finger like a life raft as he drew a line in the night that connected pan to handle, handle to my eye, and my eye to the entire sky. I felt my tiny heart explode and cascade into stardust around me as my eyes filled with tears at the gift of insight my father had bestowed upon me. I thought he was magic, reading the night sky like most of us read a book. So when he turned to me and asked, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" Off in a galaxy all my own, I answered, "An astronaut," not fully understanding what I really wanted to be were the stars. The end of that section. So in real time, I'm going to share with you what that felt like. It felt like relief. It felt freeing and like a weight. Like I could feel like a breath, like the weight just like coming off my shoulders, because I've been writing in such a cave and in such a silo that actually like speaking the words out and speaking the process out in real life is really invigorating. And so I want to thank you for being a part of this first journey of mine of sharing the memoir and process with the world. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I'd love share any comments, questions that you have about it. I'd love to answer them as far as like what this is. If you have any questions about the Artivist, I will share the link. Or if you have a question about returning, which I'm starting July 1st, hit me up in my DMs. I'm here. I am committed. I am returning, and I'm so excited about sharing this process with all of you. I love you. I will see you next time. Thank you for being here in Lakesh. Bye.